Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and yes, as the title suggests, I did indeed get the chance to play Star Fox. Yes, Nintendo invited us down to the UK headquarters to have a bit of an old go at the game, and so I did, and I'm gonna tell you what I think of it. It's a novel and original idea, but anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. So, Star Fox, Nintendo Switch 2, Star Fox. I got to play a variety of different modes, mostly like single-player stuff, but I managed to do some multiplayer as well as some co-op. Got to have a go with the mouse controls and stuff like that, and I managed to play overall. Well, the session was supposed to be 75 minutes. I think it went a little bit over, so I got some bonus Fox time, baby. But I'm going to start off talking about the solo stuff, because I think that's kind of like the biggest thing. It's certainly the biggest part of the game, and you'll be surprised to hear that it's a one-to-one remake of Star Fox 64. I mean, we knew that, obviously, but it's, you know, it's the little details that make all the difference, and I really enjoyed it. I managed to play Corneria, Meteo, Ficina, and Sector Y as well. That latter one only being in like the co-op mode that I did, where I was doing the old mouse aiming, and well, I'll tell you a bit about that later on. Just you wait. I also got to do some training where it turns out that this guy has a name. Apparently, he always did in Japan, but just over in in this country, he's always just strange man with no voice. Great stuff. But of course, I played Corneria first, and that is actually, interestingly, the level that I noticed the biggest distinctions in. I think probably because, well, when you play the 64 original, I say original, there was Star Wing as well, or, sorry, Star Fox, the SNES one, but Corneria on Star Fox 64 is iconic. You go in, but it never really felt like a city. It felt like kind of like a scale model of a city to me whenever I was playing, and that was the first thing I realized playing Star Fox, was that Corneria really felt like a city. Like, it was dark, the smoke was billowing up, there was, fine little details everywhere, and buildings actually felt, it's still a bit small, but they really did feel more like buildings. It's a difficult one to pin down, but it felt so much more alive, which is what you would want. My God, we're how many generations along now? So you would want that to be the case. But in terms of the overall feel, it definitely felt different. Whereas before, I've got this, ingrained in my head. The original Star Fox 64, you've got, you're going through, we're entering Corneria City now, and Falco's like, this is horrible. And it doesn't look that horrible, because it's just an N64 game. Whereas here, in Star Fox, it really does feel like a genuinely horrible situation, and Falco doesn't even say the same line.
Andra sure has trashed the place.
Weirdly, I found that for me, it made everything feel just a little bit more claustrophobic. I don't think it was. I think it was just as open as it was before, but as I say, like with the billowing smoke and things like that, the atmosphere is so much richer, and you feel like, oh God, you're actually flying through a city. Like the Meteo wasn't really that much different, to be honest. It felt very much the same as it always has done. Same with Sector Y, to be honest. If anything, using the whole mouse control thing. I'll get onto that later. You almost got me talking about the mouse mode. Ficina, though, definitely felt more like an actual environment, an actual planet. Again, it's down to the fine details. It's really selling the environments more than the N64 could possibly have done. I'm not suggesting for a moment that they should have done this on the N64. That's mental. But what they have done with the atmosphere, where they have made changes, it's pretty much all for the better, which is, I think I'd say that across the board. Like, even though it feels like very much the same game, you play the training or you just go straight into Corneria and you're like, hey, yeah, I know this game. It also feels a lot more responsive. I mean, it's 60 frames a second for one, but it feels a lot more responsive, a lot snappier, and the controls feel so much better. But also, you move much more snappily as well, like the cursor around the screen and your R-wing. It all feels just so much more, like that. It's so much more responsive, to the point that some muscle memory that I had and other people there kind of fell apart in certain areas, but you get used to it very quickly. But it does mean that the whole game feels a lot less, sort of gradual, and you don't have to make quite as many you do still have to sort of like plan your movement ahead when traveling through things, but it is just so much more responsive. You do feel much more like you're piloting sort of a nippy, nimble aircraft / spacecraft. It's really good. The mouse controls as well, I said I'd get onto them. I only used them in the co-op mode, which was, I would say limiting. I had the opportunity to do it in another mode, but I thought I'm going to end up doing it in the co-op anyway. I wanted to get as much good footage rather than relying on mouse mode. I should have gone in for it. It's so easy to aim with mouse mode. Like, I mean, obviously I didn't have to worry about, piloting or anything like that. I was just the gunner. But it was just like almost a bit more like a sort of essentially a bit more like playing something like Time Crisis, but on a PC using a mouse, obviously a very thin mouse, but a mouse nonetheless. And it makes the game, I'm not gonna lie, quite a lot easier, which I suppose you would expect, but here's me confirming it. But it does come, at least in this co-op mode. I can't say for everything. I wasn't able to test everything that I wanted to. Just the nature of these previews, you don't get as long with the game as you would like. But there is a technique in the game where if you hold ZL and ZR, or L and R, which are the, the banking and barrel roll buttons, if you hold both of them down when you're using a charge shot, as long as you haven't locked onto anything, you will not lock on. It like disables the auto lock-on feature. And that may sound like a bad thing, and you may sort of, oh, well, maybe there's a few sort of fringe cases where you might want to do that, but no, because you get more points. I genuinely didn't know this was a thing. I was a child when I played Star Fox 64 primarily, and I never looked, when I got older and replayed it, I never thought to look up how do I get more, shots and points and things like that, because I was just playing it for fun. But if you hold, because this also was in the original, I want to make that clear. This isn't a new thing. It's just this time they actually tell you, I don't know, maybe it was in the instruction manual or something. But you can rack up so many more points by holding ZL and ZR and using the charge shot in that way. Obviously, it's more difficult. It's not homing, but it's pretty tasty that you can bump the score up like that. Unfortunately, in the co-op mode with the mouse mode, at the very least, you can't do that. I looked at the settings menu, and as far as I can tell, there was nothing to indicate that there was a way, sort of a button, you can hold or something like that. Because all the face buttons were just bomb. L and R and ZR were just shoot. There was, as far as I could tell, there was nothing. I tried holding both the buttons down. It didn't seem to work. So I don't know if there's like a sort of a hidden way to do it, but it was disappointing that you couldn't do that. Maybe that's by design? If it is, that's weird. Oh, and in case anyone's curious, we tried the pilot holding a button as well. It didn't seem to work, even holding SL and SR. It just still locked on. It's like they're two separate systems in that mode. Shame. Oh, I was able to have a go with the AR avatar system as well, and it's fun. It's funny to have a go with it. Am I gonna use it? Probably not, but it's fun that it's there. It looks like there's a lot to unlock. I haven't counted how many, but I can tell you it's more than one. But none of the stuff I've mentioned so far surprised me quite as much as the multiplayer. We got to have a go at the dogfights, and it was online. I mean, we were all in the same room, obviously. But when they announced it and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, that looks interesting, but but at the same time, I don't know whether I'm actually going to do it. It's really good. I immediately thought of the original multiplayer mode where it's just, you're just flying around. There's just 4 of you maximum, and it's not like amazingly good, if that makes any sense. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it's also not. It's not great. It's fine. It's sort of, oh, it's on the N64. It needs a multiplayer mode. There you go. But this one, not only is it 4v4, so there's Team Star Fox and Team Star Wolf, which is the one I was. Suck it, Star Fox! So already you've got more people to shoot at, but not only that, there are also fodder enemies, usually in formations, flying around, and so, it's all a points-based system, and you also have, objectives that you need to do as well, which is really good, but just having more to do, and also having that sort of snappier control that I mentioned before, you feel so much more agile, and when you get someone, on your back, sort of shooting at you, trying to sort of tail you and stuff like that, you do have, you know, the same sort of options that you had in Star Fox 64. You could do a somersault, you could do a U-turn, you could, you know, brake, speed up, something like that. But before, it would always felt like, and maybe it was just because I was younger, but you'd be tailing someone and they do a somersault, and then you do a somersault, and you'd just be doing this sort of dance, and it would get boring really quickly because you didn't have the maneuverability to quickly turn and try and do anything more interesting. Not so here. It's so much more interesting. You can approach slightly from the side, and, you know, sort of they can't quite tell, oh, where am I coming from? Where are they coming from? So they do a somersault or something, and then you brake and you go, ha-ha, you know. It's just so much more dynamic, and you get these weird items as well. Like, there was like these sort of like smart mines. No idea if I ever did anything good with those. But there's also like something where you can get like a force field around you, and I don't know if it makes you invulnerable, but it certainly absorbs a lot of hits. There's like a mega boost or an ultra boost or a hyper boost, whatever it's, you know, I can't remember what it's exactly called. And it just means that you boost for it feels like about 10 seconds. It's probably closer to 5, but it feels like 10 seconds. And you're just going, and it's like a G-Diffuser is like on max. So you can do all the loops. You can just loop, U-turn, U-turn, U-turn if you want. Is it useful? Maybe not. But, you know, having the ability to do that, particularly when you're in a dogfight with someone, it is delightful. And I had some really, really good fun with the 2 matches that we played. It was both on Conaria. Both times it was like capture the zone as the extra objective to get extra points. But even if you lose all the zones, not that I did, even if you lose all the zones, you still get, it's still points based. You only just get a bonus of points. You get like 30 points for taking down like a proper, you know, like another player or a bot, and like 5 points per like little sort of like fodder enemy. And I think if you capture things, it says like, we've received your call, we're sending in reinforcements, or something like that. And so I think you maybe get, you know, more help or something like that. I don't know. But it is so much more fun and dynamic than I ever thought it was going to be. My main criticism is that there are only 3 maps and 3 objectives. And I only got to try out 1. But it wasn't like... It doesn't, you know, I can't help but feel that it's going to be fun, but it's the longevity that I'm concerned about. Are people going to want to play this in even 6 months' time? Not because it's bad at all or anything like that, and I'm not suggesting that Star Fox should become an online multiplayer-focused game, but I just can't help but feel that such a limited offering is just going to mean that people go, hey, wow, this is fun, this is cool, and then just not go back to it. There have been so many games like that, and I think it's a real crying shame. And it really is, I think it's really going to be best online, or maybe game share, but all in all, I'm much more excited for this game now than I was before I played it, which, you know, that may sound obvious, but at the same time, it's a good thing. You know, I've had a taste, I've had a demo, if you like, and I'm happy with it. I'm pleasantly surprised. I want to play more. I'm looking forward to playing as much of it as I possibly can. And yes, it's still only going to take about an hour. Yeah, I had originally planned to just see if I could do like a run and finish the game during the preview session, but you know, it was like, no, you're doing these levels, and I was like, oh, Nintendo! Hello, it's Future Alex here with a few points that I forgot to mention in my baby-addled mind. First of all, the game looks gorgeous. You can probably tell that from the footage. I'm aware it's not direct capture, we were only allowed to do over the shoulder, but even then, from like the directs and stuff, you should be able to tell that the game looks flippin' stunning, and it looks even better in person. Or it was quite weirdly reassuring to be able to see, like, you know, sort of the limitations where they've been a bit cheeky with the geometry to sort of hide it a bit. It was just nice to see that, oh, yeah, no, they're not rendering everything at a ridiculous rate. They're still being clever. Performance was also fantastic. I don't think I saw a single dropped frame. It's a lot more difficult to tell when looking at recorded footage, or rather filmed footage as opposed to capture, but you know, I'm fairly confident that not a sausage of a dropped frame. Certainly not during gameplay, which after Star Fox Zero, nice. The voice acting is also great. I really enjoyed it, and the cutscenes are, like, they add a lot more than I expected. Like, I know they said, oh, it's going to be cinematic, but they've really lent into it, and the voice direction and stuff like that is really, really solid, to the point that Falco is even more of... I can't think of a better word for it. Even more of a bitch than before. Like, he's so sour, he's so salty. Like, he makes... I can't remember the exact line because I've got a lot on at the moment. Actually, you know, I can just cut to it, can't I?
We're going to have to start working like a team. A real team.
Last I checked, a real team needs a real leader.
And I just love that sass. Like, he's always been a little bit, you know, kind of have a little bit of an edge to him. It's sort of like, oh no, I've got someone on my tail. Mind your own business, Fox, when you shoot him. And it's like, yeah. But this time around, they're taking it up to another level and yet more layered, more nuanced. So not just like being really awful. Like, you can tell he's bitter. Like, presumably he wants to be the leader and he's not. And it's just like, Argh! They also delve quite a bit deeper into the politics of Star Fox and the Lilat system specifically. At one point, you know, in the cutscene before Ficina, they're like, "Oh, why are we looking at Ficina? What's the point? You know, sort of, isn't it just like a few staff and stuff like that?" And then Peppy's like, "Oh, it's not well known, but you know, there's actually secret operations going on there." And then Fox goes back to General Pepper and he's like, "Okay, we'll go there and protect your secrets." It's just like, you, cheeky little sod. It really elevates the experience. And yeah, I wish I'd mentioned that in the original recording, but yeah, I've got a lot on at the moment, so I'm including it now. But I am genuinely excited for this game now, and more than that, I'm just really getting a sense, and I want to be clear, I'm not like, oh, I've got some inside information, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, I don't know anything. I genuinely don't know anything. But I honestly think that they are gearing up for another bigger game, and this is kind of like a, almost, I don't want to say a way to kind of like fill the Switch 2 catalog, but almost sort of like, hey, Star Fox, you like him in the Mario movie? You know, you liked him back in the past when he was relevant? He's back, baby! And then they're going to do something bigger, you know, sort of full-priced game at some point in the future. It could be a year, could be 5. God, I hope it's not 5. But the long and short of it, I'm really looking forward to playing more Star Fox. Even if there isn't a giant slot machine to fight. But those are only my thoughts. Are you excited? Are you unexcited? Are you para-excited? Let us know with a comment down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you lock on to that subscribe button, but don't lock on. Hold ZL and ZR and then fire a charge shot anyway and get some tasty points. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.